Okay, so I'm making this video right now. It's going to be on the myths and rumors surrounding hypnosis to clarify things that people misunderstand. So, one of the references I'm going to be looking at here, this is an article on the Human Givens Institute about the uses and abuses of hypnosis. So, let's see. It does clarify some myths and rumors, and it's a easy way for me to be able to find the rumors that I'm trying to clarify here without having to, deal with hypnosis inhibiting me while I'm doing it. And I'm not going to be clarifying all those rumors. Half-truths. Oh, there we go. And this is that's a good way to describe it, right? Not just a myth, it's a half-truth. Because it's only partially true. So also I wanted to clarify, Human Givens is definitely my favorite reference in regards to the hypnosis, at least on this aspect specifically. Just because of the fact that, they have two different, there's two things that I really like about it. There is the REM state theory, it's called the Human Givens theory, actually, and it states that hypnosis is an artificial method of accessing the REM state. Rapid eye movement, when that's responsible for dreaming. And then also I like how they actually acknowledge that hypnosis can be used to abuse people. Which, is very rarely seen anywhere on the internet. Even there's also the rumor, I guess, that you could say, right? This was from the news story I referenced in the last video about, the lawyer hypnotizing clients and sexually abusing them. Well, he said that, hypnosis can't necessarily make you do things against your will, but can make you, can change what you want to do. Well, that's definitely true. It can make you change what you want to do. Now, as far as, forcing you to do things involuntarily, yes, it can. Not everything, though. Like, for example, it cannot make me steal from a grocery store, right? Which is one of the things they try to get me to do with hypnosis. But it can make my hand cramp uncontrollably while I'm trying to write the word murder. So there we go. Oh, that's another thing, right? Okay, so... Alright. I'm gonna have to make a few examples here, but not too many. One, trance and hypnosis are the same thing. The answer is not exactly, although very similar. Although, let me see, how do I phrase that one? Because this should not take me long to do at all. Because I know the difference between the two, very simply and plainly, right? So, trance is not always hypnosis. Hypnosis is not always trance. Depends on your definition of hypnosis as well. But, not exactly. Trance does not... elicit the same suggestibility. as hypnosis, but like second phrasing for suggestibility is important. So suggestibility, put it very simply, like response to hypnotic commands, right? That's what suggestibility is. Um, um, or I could say does not elicit the same suggestibility as hypnosis. And an example of this, um, the hypnosis is hurting my back. Sorry about that. That's one of the hypnotic suggestions, hypnotizing me to feel pain and try to, you know, use operant conditioning. I need to hurry. This is the problem with hypnosis. This is abuse. Trance and hypnosis are not. If can you see it yet? Because I mean, I'm being slowed down so much, and this is so abusive. So I'm stressed out a little bit. I mean, I'm really actually starting to kind of get pretty freaked out. Um, Not like I'm out of control of my emotions, but I'm really stressed out. I'm pretty freaked out when I really should be scared, but I'm not able to exactly feel the fear that I should be able to feel because the hypnosis is inhibiting me. And that's what I also mean by the suggestibility, right? That's an example because you can be tranced out all day, right? Almost. I mean, you can be in and out of trance all day, but it's not going to elicit the same response. It's not going to produce the same effects. Because there's different levels of trance. And stages of hypnosis. And that's another thing that, that's why I made that face. Because of the hypnosis. I've been abused with hypnosis, so that's what they're doing to abuse me. So, moving on. Trance and hypnosis are not the same, and then not exactly. Trance does not elicit the same suggestibility as hypnosis, or that's right. I was trying to redefine suggestibility. That's all I was trying to do, but the hypnosis won't allow me to, because it's really being used to abuse me. So, to clarify, what suggestibility means, that's a response to suggestion, right? So, a post-hypnotic suggestion is like a hypnotic command or a hypnotic instruction. That's not a hard concept to understand, right? So, I mean, you're not going to elicit the same response, the same unconscious response. There we go. That's a better way to clarify. Because I wanted to specify, but the hypnosis wouldn't allow me to. Does not elicit the same suggestibility or because I mean, trance, you're not going to not all forms of trance will, of course, it's the same thing with all stages of hypnosis at the same time, because the latter stages of hypnosis, you won't have the same response. That was it. That was it. Acceptance or rejection, or rejection. There we go. That's all I was trying to say. They were abusing me so much by inhibiting that from my memory the entire time, because that's what I wanted to specify, but the hypnosis wouldn't let me. Acceptance or rejection. Or so I mean, basically, does not elicit the same suggestibility or acceptance of, how do I define that without using the word suggestion so that people understand? Commands or instructions. Or acceptance of commands and instructions. And I mean, you can imagine subliminal messaging, right? That's much more common than, like just standard. That's another thing I need to clarify here. So, what is hypnosis? And I also had to clarify the difference between direct and indirect hypnosis, or direct and Ericksonian. There we go. Direct versus Ericksonian. So Ericksonian, like it's interesting because like basically any idea or concept that is outside of your conscious awareness is automatically accepted into your unconscious. And I mean that's a super simplified version of explaining it. Oversimplified to be honest. But there we go. Let's move on. Trance and hypnosis are the same. Not exactly. So clarifying between myths and facts. Whatever. I'll worry about it later. The name of it, right? Hypnosis myth demystified. Because not all levels of trance also are even meant to, accept commands or instructions or suggestions. So like hypnosis is designed to do that. Whether it's subliminal or whether it's direct, hypnosis is designed to do that. But trance in itself, not necessarily. Let me see. Demystify. That's the right word I'm looking for. Yep, demystify. Okay. Okay. As hypnosis. And then I can also even clarify even further. Although hypnosis does involve and I mean like it is basically I mean I guess you don't necessarily have to put a person into trance to get a suggestion into them like subliminal messaging or even amnesia as an example. um I mean, you might be able to try to consider that they're already in a light trance, but it doesn't seem like most hypnotists are always doing that when they skip the induction and they just get a put in a suggestion. So, I mean, it could be very similar though. Although hypnosis does involve does practically involve or does practically revolve around trance. Although the process of hypnosis does involve putting people into trance. Okay. I'm actually going to clarify. I'm going to put going into a trance. Okay. Anyways, so that's done. Even though that hypnosis inhibited me to make me take 16 minutes doing it. That's abuse. Okay, next. This is so abusive. Let's see. Natural state of relaxation and concentration with heightened awareness induced by suggestion. So I mean, like that is a clarification of kind of a difference, at least according to Human Givens theory. I mean, there's different theories out there, so I mean, like it depends on the theory that you believe in or what your own personal belief is on it. I mean, I'm not aware of any evidence that goes against this theory. And I think they do have evidence supporting it, but I'm not 100% sure on like everything that's involved in the specific REM state necessarily as far as brain activity. And they've only done a limited amount of brain scans even on hypnosis in the first place. Although it seems as if there is a connection there from what I've been able to see. So there's limited data on it, limited research even. Especially considering the fact that it's so misunderstood as it is. Like, people don't even, like, hardly know what it is. So I have to describe that. And, like, I'm probably going to be leaning mostly on Human Givens theory for just that definition of what hypnosis is. And, I mean, if you look at the aspects of other stages of trance, I mean, it's similar to accessing like a REM state where you're very highly imaginative sometimes. In terms of like Ericksonian hypnosis, they use like a lot of metaphors and symbolism, which, the unconscious mind picks up great. And, like if you're when you're in the REM state and you're dreaming, that's heavily involved with metaphors and symbolism. So, I mean, it might not like exactly look like be the exact same as dreaming necessarily 100%, but it could activate some very similar, um, pathways in the brain and um, brain activity. There we go. Although I don't believe it's necessarily the exact same, especially when the person's like in a lighter trance. Uh, naturally because, like, but at the same time, they're to a smaller extent, of course, right? Kind of like daydreaming, right? That's not like dreaming, but it's daydreaming, right? uh, okay, hypnosis is safe with no unpleasant side effects. I love how they just straight out. It is far from safe. Yes. Clarification, right? So I'm not going to word it the exact same. Too. Hypnosis is not dangerous. That's the common myth around it, right? Or hypnosis is perfectly safe. I'll also just include that in the same one. Or hypnosis is perfectly safe, or is completely safe. Okay. And this is this is the definition of a half truth right here. Hypnosis is not dangerous, or hypnosis is completely safe. So basically, right, hypnosis in and of itself, just like talking or writing, right, is perfectly safe. But that doesn't, the process of hypnosis in and of itself, no danger, no risk. Other than like risk of falling, kind of a confounding variable, right? Because it's not the hypnosis that would directly cause any harm or damage. Because if you caught a head injury because you were induced into hypnosis, that would be because you hit your head, not because you were hypnotized, technically, directly. Because if someone caught you instead, you wouldn't have hit your head and you wouldn't have had the head trauma or whatever, right? So that's the example. The other example, hypnosis is not dangerous, or hypnosis is completely safe. So, basically, I'm going to clarify this depends on the context. And trying to think of like a really just easy example, if I can, because I'll probably have to write it down just to make sure that the hypnosis doesn't inhibit me too much, right? Because the hypnosis has done nothing but be used to abuse me to profound, abnormal extents that are unreasonable beyond belief. Hypnosis is not dangerous, or hypnosis is completely safe. This depends on the context. Hypnosis. Wow, hypnosis is inhibiting me so much. This is ridiculous. This is abuse. Moving on. This is abuse, right? So I'm moving on. I can start recording myself on Facebook Live if I have to. Hypnosis is not dangerous, or hypnosis is completely safe. So let's see. In regards to it not being dangerous, this is what I mean, right? Because limiting my options, because that's not what I'm trying to talk about. What I'm trying to talk about is a quick example of it that doesn't involve a head injury thing, right? The process and induction of hypnosis in itself is not dangerous. And I can actually even compare this to sleeping, right? It's not dangerous. Just like sleeping. And you could even leave the context of that depends where you're sleeping, right? Okay, moving on. So there's that. Then to clarify the context, although hypnosis can, I was about to try to describe it, and then the hypnosis inhibited my articulation already. Although hypnosis can be extremely dangerous. Although hypnosis can be extremely dangerous, if it is being used abusively. And so although hypnosis can be extremely dangerous if it is being used abusively. What? Okay, and this is an example of how it's being used abusively. I'll even clarify, right? So I was hypnotized not to drink water unless I noticed I wasn't drinking enough water, unless someone else would notice I wasn't drinking enough water, or unless they would get caught for it, and I survived manslaughter because of it. So, I mean, like I said, that depends on the context, right? Because not everyone's going to do that. But then again, this is something like hypnosis is